Hi, good evening. My name is Jennifer O'Rourke. I live at 447 North Tyson Avenue. Um, I- uh, Sorry. My comments or questions tonight, sorry, are basically centered around student safety and open communication. I recently attended the 6th grade DARE graduation for our district, and it was quite an event. It was a lot of fun, emceed by Dr. Pellico and the Abington Police Force. It was really festive and very energizing, and I applaud the district in maintaining positive relationships with our law enforcement in a time where, students struggle and students are easily persuaded by all sorts of things in our society to maybe not be supportive and respectful of our police department and not want to engage. And I think it's a fabulous program, and the evening was really great. Prior to that evening, however, I was contacted by a community member, and they were seeking clarity on a couple of things. And the majority of it really is based on balancing student safety or student privacy with student safety. So I'm really just requesting clarity on a few things. The first was really documentation, what the district's policy is on documenting incidents of bullying or violence or assault in our district. What does that documentation look like? The second item was notifying the family. If an individual in the district, whether it be the elementary, junior high, or high schools, is involved in an incident, what is the district's policy on notifying the family that that has occurred, both families, either family. The third big question that this individual had for me, they felt that information was not being disclosed, so I told them I would seek the policy on disclosing the school's investigation and the discipline that the school has imposed. This one particular incident had to do with a bullying incident. And honestly, most importantly, was what was the follow-through? Is there a district policy on the remediation of students when they're involved in an altercation of any kind, whether the altercation is, mutual, whether it's a bullying incident, whether it's an assault. The big questions were they felt as though they were not notified, and that once they notified the district that the incident had happened, that information wasn't disclosed. And I tried my best to navigate, FERPA laws and communicate that with the individual. And I just told them the next best step would be to come and ask you. So tonight, that's what those questions are regarding.
Sure. Dr. Sickle?
Yes, I can share with you, Mrs. O'Rourke, that I think the best place for you to find quality information is to go to the district's website, to our policies and superintendent administrative procedures. Two of them are most important. There's one called harassment and bullying, and there's a second one called student offenses. And if you are around when we go through our second reading of board policies, I will specifically show you where those are at. Both of those talk about our definitions, how we follow state and federal laws and regulations, what happens if there is offenses, reporting, notification of parents. There's attachments of student offenses letters. It talks about differences between the elementary and the secondary level, police involvement, when there isn't police involvement. They're very comprehensive, and those policies are online.
Individuals do have the right to documentation of an incident?
You'd only have the right for information about your child. And unfortunately, what happens on both the principal level and with Dr. Fetcher and myself, we cannot violate FERPA. You went right to the correct federal law. And when parents call up and talk about an incident, I share with them, as does Dr. Fetcher and the principals, that I have investigated the matter, that all rules and regulations have been followed, appropriate consequences and discipline have occurred, but I cannot tell you any further about another individual's child but your own.
Even if your child is involved in that
Even
incident?
if your child is involved in it, we cannot release information. 'Cause
That's
it's
that's
it's a
because of the
violation
law.
of the law.
Are they, well, I've read some articles that question the validity of that. Not of the FERPA, obviously, but whether if your child is actually part of that incident, that while you don't have the information, privy to the other student, that because this directly relates to your child, that you are entitled to that information.
Well-
I guess my question is there a policy in our district where you receive a written record of an incident once it's occurred and the follow-through? And really, is there a policy in the district about remediating students, whether it's a smack on the back of the head or a fist fight or a more aggressive assault? The
And-
remediation was the big question.
Right,
Yeah.
and I would share with you in both of the policies that I've referred to, it talks about what are suspendable offenses, what are expulsion offenses. I can share with you that we follow through and do what we need to do, but we do not provide documentation about another child to another parent or guardian, because that is a violation of the law. I'm going to ask Mr. O'Donoghue to respond to that, because it's a legal question, and I know he will share more information.
Sure. Dr. Siegel, you're correct. That when another child's discipline is that child's protected FERPA record. It is not accessible to other families or eligible students.
So for a family of a student who's in an incident, though, what is the district's policy on assuring their safety and attending to their own mental health?
Well, that's a different question.
But I agree, that's the fourth question,
Okay.
yeah.
And we have, as I know you know, a full array of both psychologists and counselors and social worker that deal with these kind of matters, and we deliver the interventions that are needed. We deliver the discipline that is needed. I'm sure you've heard at board meetings that you've attended that there are certain expulsion matters, and you hear the Board of School Directors, I say to the Board of School Directors, all due process rights have been covered. I can share with you that matters have been dealt with appropriately, and Mr. McGarry always says, due to the confidential nature of this, we cannot discuss this in public, and we go from there. So I can tell you it is done, but in terms of giving specificity, we can't. I think what's most important is what happens from here, how do you hopefully mend fences, whether it's through peer mediation, non-conflict resolution, counseling, et cetera. We work extensively on that as well.
But is that a case-by-case basis, or is that a district, are all incidences addressed with mediation,
No,
remediation?
you've got to do it on a case-by-case basis, because sometimes it's appropriate or sometimes it's not. I can't sweep with a broad brush, because it's very different depending on the outcome and what the infraction was.
So do parents get a voice in determining if remediation is necessary, or is that determined by the district?
That's determined by the district.
All right, thank you.
You're welcome.
Thank you. Appreciate your coming out.